2 of the 2019 BMW IBSF Bobsleigh World Championships. We're at the 2010 Winter Olympic venue, the Viesturs Sliding Centre. And Francesco Frugic might be a little over 90 minutes away from tying an all-time record in two-man bob. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan. A week ago, John, we were nervous about the perfect season. Now we're nervous about the last two heats of the two-man.
After two heats, Nico Walters in third place. He hasn't won a medal yet this year on the World Cup circuit. Been nursing a hamstring, but now it's all or nothing. He only got 2 weeks left in the season. He's a great pilot. Lacks a little bit at the start, but he's in a bronze medal position. Now let's go to the heavyweights. Justin Crips, Cam Stones. Crips won the gold medal last year at the Pyeongchang Olympic Games in two-man bobsled. He was the leader at the end of the first heat in the competition, but in the second heat, he faltered a little bit, came down in a silver medal position. But hey, the guy he's chasing down is Francisco Friedrich, Torsten Margus. They tied last year at the Olympic Games. They go back and forth like two heavyweights in a boxing match, Martin. We're getting close to the final rounds here. 2 heats to go. This guy here wins today. He'll be 5 straight world championships. He'll tie Eugenio Monti, the legend of our sport history, something we thought we'd never see. Of course, last week he had the perfect season.
And he really appreciates his part in the story. He really gets the Monty story and the thing with the perfect season. 8 wins out of 8, never done before in any sliding discipline. He's the leader overnight. He goes off first of our 31 sleds because although we did have a crash yesterday, Nick Polignato will be back on the start line, will go again for Canada. He will be 31st and last off the mountain in the third of our 4 heats. Then the fastest 20 go through into the last run, where we will go 20 down to 1 to decide the medals. And as you said, John, 2 joint Olympic champions, mano a mano. There's Justin Crips, in the background, Francesco Friedrich, and it is between the two of them. The last man to beat Friedrich in a two-man race, though, his teammate Nico Walter, he lies in third.
And he doesn't have the start. There's Friedrich. But you know, I've met them all. I've seen a lot of the champions. There's Cody Basque, Cher, Hildebrand, Vader, Longin, Lange. You can go back to Wolfgang Zimmer. I've met Monty.
Yep.
I never met a more humble athlete than Francisco Friedrich.
And he becomes more aware of everything that's going on around him with every race, as if he needs less of his brain to focus on what it is that he does. 2 51 second and change runs remain for Friedrich, for Crips, for Walter, for Brad Hall of Great Britain in 4th, Kiba Manis, who slipped to 5th, Chris Spring of 6th. Could the Canadian move up? Yun Jong-won, he won here 2 years ago in the two-man. Lochner, Rinaldi, Anginov, the rest of them will go in their ranked order. So with each sled, there is a bigger and bigger gap. And it's around here, Hunter Church, Ralph Berchins, Lamin Dean, those are the guys where we're going to see maybe some major changes to move into the final 20 and the last heat. Day 2 of the two-man bobsleigh world championships. Francesco Friedrich, Torsten Margus, the leaders overnight. First to go to get round 3 underway.
4:71 they had in their second run yesterday. 4:70 is the start record. 4:76. Wow, good lines there. He was really sloppy up here in the first run yesterday when Crips was the best sled down. Set the track record though. Second run he was just clean up top and really separated himself from Crips up here at the top of the track in the second run.
Yeah, Crips had 700s over Friedrich in run 1. Friedrich ended up 1200s in front, so that was nearly a 2/10 turnover.
That's a lot of time, but on this track, there's no such thing as a lot of time.
Man, just
every
look
corner.
at the speed.
I mean, he's just perfect here.
Absolutely flying.
Flying down the track here.
Speed at the bottom will be close on 150 kilometers an hour. Friedrich across the line.
51.21.
All right, faster than his second trip yesterday, which was enough to get him into the lead over Crips.
Well off the record that
Crips set.
50.96, so 2,500s off. They were off at the start though, Martin. Very surprised at that start, but that could be the barometer. That could be what everybody goes off. He had the fastest start in the competition.
Well, unlike yesterday, we've already had 2 heats of the women going down today.
Look at how smooth he is off the exit.
Even that horrible 8-9 transition looked quite decent.
Look at the, watch the way the cowling splits. Cowling didn't even split there. Watch this here now. Watch the articulation here. Look at the runners. Quietly, you watch how many more sleds. We see a little bit of that cowling suspension split there. Some of the sleds will be maxed out there.
Yeah, that was super smooth.
Some smooth.
Super smooth. Well, that really throws down the gauntlet for Canada's Justin Crips and Cam Stones. Crips, 31 years old, the Olympic champion, tied with Friedrich.
Stones, a former Sevens rugby player. Big Sevens rugby tournament going down in Las Vegas that Stones could have been playing for his country. This is moving day, like in a golf tournament. The third heat's where you want to position yourself for the fourth heat. This is a big run for Crips. You can't lose any more ground. And look at that 486 start.
Gave away a 10th at the start. He cannot give away ground
that
to
much
Friedrich.
time. Well, he made his time in this first run down at the bottom.
He's 3/10 back, John, already.
Oh, man, the start. Something's wrong there at the start for them. Being 10th behind.
So Crips needs absolute perfection in 2 runs here. That's a
Losing
good run into
ground.
9. But the gap is growing from 29 to 38 hundredths back.
He's coming back a little bit now. This is what he did yesterday. He had better speed on the bottom part of the track in the first run.
There's not 3/10 of a
he's
second
coming
worth
back
of
some
ice
more.
left. He's only brought it back 1/10 of a second. He'll be across the line, nearly a quarter second back.
15 more hundredths to Friedrich. Friedrich got away from him there. I can't say that's a bogey. It was a bogey at the start. Listen. See, 8-6 they said. That's perplexing.
Friedrich's going to have to throw an interception in the final heat. Crips is not going to catch him with a start and a run like that.
Watch the start here. Do they run too far? I mean, this is precision. They had great starts yesterday, 480 and a 478.
Yep. But they were only 4th and 5th fastest. Friedrich was fastest at the start in both heats.
Yeah, but he was 6 hundredths away, 13 hundredths away. Right there, he's 10 hundredths away in one heat. That's a lot of time to give up to the start to that guy.
Yeah.
The rest of the way down the track's pretty smooth.
Well, 1,500 meters, he's keeping away a 100th of a second every 100 meters. Well, Nico Walter next up. Now, is this an opportunity for Walter? He was only 17 hundredths behind Crips in the battle for the medals.
He's former junior luge world champion. He's a former junior bobsled world champion. Dresden guy.
488, only a couple of hundredths behind Crips at the start.
Second best velocity, too.
Wow. This is a real chance for Walter.
488, he's 6 hundredths off his start. Crips was 10 hundredths off the start.
49 hundredths back to the leader. Don't forget, Crips is 27 hundredths back at the bottom of the track.
Brakeman, figure track and field background? No, judo.
Yeah.
Took a look at that.
Yeah, he's a big unit though, Pavel Kaminski.
5,100 points, he's losing weight.
Yeah, he is losing
way
ground.
Back.
Now, is this going to be the story? Are we just going to see the gap grow all the way down the run? Or does this
he's coming back on the bottom, something though. 42, 1,500, so.
Close 200s on Crips. The gap is down to 1,500s behind Crips.
Friedrich, best speeds all the way down the track, including 92.9 miles an hour on the bottom.
Yeah.
Is that good enough to maintain his bronze medal?
Well, we'll find out in 2 minutes' time.
Right here, this is the 7 up. We saw this curve 9. So many problems here. Crashes
big height
this morning.
In 9.
Yeah. This is down in the 50-50 part of the track, which.
Neat and tidy
how's
there.
This? Can't see the brakeman.
Little late steer, but only a tiny adjustment. Look at
very,
the sled
very quiet.
Even separates.
Very, very quiet.
Nice run from Nico Walter. Is that enough to keep in the medals? We'll find out. Next up, Great Britain's Brad Hall and Nick Gleeson. Brad Hall and Nick Gleeson, 2nd and 4th fastest starts. They lie 4th overnight, a 10th out of the medals.
Another decathlete in the front seat.
Now Now, all they want to do...
478, Martin, should be 484, knowing what we've seen for the first few sleds. 483.
483. All they want to do is enjoy today. That wasn't too bad.
Gleeson, a paratrooper that, you know, everybody lists what their sport they came from. He lists none.
Yeah, he's from 3 para. You don't need to list a sport. 4 to 5, he was good. Here's 6, where we had 2 crashes in the women's race into Luder's Loop.
This is Brad Hall's biggest heat of his life. We talked about it yesterday.
Everybody is dropping back. The gaps are going to grow down the field.
Chalk going on.
6,900s back. He sat down 4,600s back. Well, the women's race earlier on and the high ambient temperatures today might have done some damage to the track. That's a 51.5. So here's what we got. Friedrich 51.2, Crips 51.3, Walter 51.3, Brad Hall 51.5.
Yeah, he lost a lot of ground there. He was only 10 hundredths behind Walter. Now he's 28 hundredths behind.
Yep.
The best speed on the track so far, Nico Walter. 93.2 miles an hour.
Walter has made the moves so far.
How quiet is the steering here? This is, you saw the split there.
Rocked off a little and a skid into 9. He got sort of tapped in off the wall from 8.
Well, this is a great result if he can maintain at least a 4th place.
Still 1 to go.
No British sled has won a world championship medal since Nash and Dixon in Cortina in 1966.
Good year for British sport. Oscar's Kieberman is next up. Now, he was only 400s behind Brad Hall. Brad overhauled him in Heat 2. Kieberman will be looking to undo that damage.
480s, that's pretty good. He maintained his start. You know, yesterday I said he had real conservative lines down the track. Then I find out from his coach that the day before his wife gave birth to their 2nd son, Arnis. So that might have been a little bit on his mind.
Yeah.
Smooth. I mean, Martin, I just think he's driving too smoothly. Look, there's no variance here.
Gap's growing. He is 4th fastest on the splits at the moment, trying to overhaul Brad Hall. There was just a few hundreds in it.
2nd place in World Cup standings this year. 6,400s.
Oh, big steer there.
Oh.
How close is this going to be? He's behind at the line. He's going to be in 5th position. So the gap stays.
900ths apart. Yesterday he was 400. He lost 4 more hundredths to Brad Hall. Nobody has beat the previous guy coming down.
No, the gaps are just growing. This is widening the field.
Look at this skid here. He's trying to stay off that left wall, but then he's fishtailing, and look how high he gets here. You saw the sled change direction there in the 2nd pressure point. And down here, again, he's got great lines, Martin. Doesn't touch anything. Look at the rudder tips there, though. That's a lot of steering. I think that sort of says what he's been doing. He's got too much control.
He got in too late there and had to haul it off. A suggestion as Francesco Friedrich leads a widening field, that with the fat runners everybody's running for speed and a fresh spritz, maybe the groove is a fraction snug on the runners, meaning the starts aren't as quick. And if somebody like Toppy Latour comes up with that suggestion, I'm going with that. Here's Chris Spring and Neville Wright. 47 again, not too far off their first start.
48, 43. Springer started late. 16. So I got to believe if there's anybody that has a chance to move up, it's Springer.
7th World Championships for Chris Spring, 1 as an Australian in 2009.
And the last 2 out of 3 victories on this track in the World Cup, this guy here.
Absolutely right. Now, how is he doing? The gap is just about holding steady with the leader. So if he doesn't lose to Friedrich, how much will he close on Kieberman?
He's got a chance. He's close.
He was only 800s back. Is he in front of the line? Look at that run out of the final corner.
3rd best time of the run. There's There's the first guy.
How he moves up. He's top 2. He's up to 4th ahead of Brad Hall and Oscar's Kibermanis.
Might be too much of a reach to catch Walter, but Chris Spring, if he didn't start 16th in the first run, he might be in the hunt for the bronze.
Well, Springer hasn't started World Cup races in Europe this season. We've been waiting to see what he'd bring to the Worlds, and that's what he's brought.
Well, you talk about control. I mean, he might have the best lines down the track so far. Watch the speed that this guy generates.
150 point how many? All the speed is won and lost early. All the time is won and lost early. You can get maximum speed at the bottom, but if you've given away time at the top...
Hey, the best speed on the track so far?
150.3 from memory.
That guy right there, Chris Spring, fastest speed at the bottom.
93.4 miles an hour.
In a bobsled.
Yeonjong-won of Korea now with his Olympic brakeman. Yeon Wo Seo behind him for the first time since February 2018.
83, so should be 85, 86, 5. Exit, nice, really quiet. Here, off the wall, perfect. We talked about Chris Spring winning 2 of the last 3 World Cup 2-man events on this track. Well, this is the guy that won the 3rd. The other one.
Yep.
Very capable pilot. It's going to be tough to chase down Spring, but he can get. Look at those lines. Wow. The track looks pretty tame, Martin, compared to what we saw in the women's competition.
I was going to say, you were saying that at the beginning of the women's race, and then suddenly we had 3 crashes and about half a dozen sleds.
7900s, 7th on the bottom here. 5th best time of the run, 7th overall. He's only 200ths back at Kibermanis.
Wow.
1200ths from Brad Hall.
Yeah. Well, he's lost ground as Chris Spring leaps up the order, but Yeonjong-won closing on the other sleds in front of him.
Picked up a 10th on Kibermanis.
Yeah. And 400s on Brad Hall.
Yeah.
So that still might be a jump, but Kibermanis is there for the taking. One flying here. This is where they learn to drive, isn't it, all the Koreans?
Well, they say the most trips they've ever had is down Lake Placid, but I bet you this is 2nd.
Gotta be.
Well, again, he won here a couple years back.
Yeah. Well, actually tied for victory with Rico Peter in the 2nd race in 2015-16.
Right.
Chris Spring won the 1st. In fact, the year after that, Friedrich and Margis won. 3rd of our Germans is Johannes Lochner with Christopher Weber behind him. Works Weber at the family classic Porsche dealership in Dortmund.
Lochner Boner raised right down from the track in Königsegg, Berchtesgaden. His parents are here. Family, a lot of family. 43. Wow, that's start 478. That's pretty chalk from what we've seen.
Yeah, everybody 400 or 500s behind where they were yesterday.
He's going to drive a Walner sled in the 4-man.
Yeah.
This is an FES. He's not real happy.
Hannes Wallner has been around at some of the European races. He's not building a whole host of new sleds this year.
Oh, that was perfect.
What he is doing is looking at what everybody else is doing so he can break out a new 2-man next year.
Still an 8th.
Yeah.
Chalk.
Drifting out wide. He's now a 2nd back from the leader.
This has just not been his deal. 5th best time of the run. 102, so he's 2/10 down.
He closes 100th on Yeonjong-won. That's not enough. As you say, he's still 2/10 behind him. And the field is spreading out. We see this often in the World Championships where the 3rd heat goes first to last, the gaps just grow. Because the best guy gets the best conditions.
Well, the lines, can't fault much of this. Look at this line. This might be the best line we've seen in 2 days of racing here.
That's the most to the right through 8 that we've seen.
But the smoothest lines aren't
wave.
always the fastest lines.
Handful of that corner, look.
Oh, something came off. A runner bolt came off.
No, that's not Monty's bolt. That's Lochner's nuts just dropped off.
Now, I wonder if the jury sees that. That'd be...
Well, now, he needs to know because he won't be examining the runner bolts Now, they are Allen bolts, they tighten themselves in, but the nut on the back is to hold it tight in the shoe.
I would think some German just saw that.
Somebody needs to have seen that on the replay. They're too clever not to. 9th of our 31 sleds, Rudy Rinaldi and Boris van der Monaco. And a top 10 finish in the World Championships would be a massive boost for Rinaldi and the Monaco team. Look how the giant fan just gets in like a feather.
49, chalk. You know, that gigantic Boris Van has lost 10 pounds, or 10 kilos, about 22 pounds. Came from the sport of shot put. Doesn't surprise me. He's a huge man.
It's been a strong season this year for Rudy Rinaldi. That's a great looking run out of Luder's Loop. Look at this, through 9 and 10. Into Shiver. Little tap.
Steer there, no problem. 9600s. He's
out of 50,
into 8th. He's moving up the ladder.
He is. This is a really nice looking run. Smooth and fast from Rudy Rinaldi. Little clatter, ducks his head.
Second best time of the run. Wow.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's Bruno.
There shows there's something left in the track. I think there's a lot of big eyes from everybody.
Yeah.
Looking, what did he just do?
Wow. Now everyone's been looking at the sled. What runners has he got
He's
on?
ahead of Lochner.
Wow. So
and he's only, he's 1,300 back of one.
But he's moved up. Never mind staying in the top 10. He moves up one.
Boy, he had foot surgery over the summer. What a great season he's had.
High line.
This is the speed. Look at the speed here.
Wow.
He matches Friedrich's speed, and he's starting way back in 10th. Friedrich went first with the fresh ice. Oh, and he hits there at the finish pretty hard. Second best time of the run, Rudy Rinaldi.
They are loving that. 9th sled down is Maxim Anjanov with Ilya Malik behind him. Malik in his 2nd season of sliding. And Anjanov in his 2nd World Championships.
Pretty good season for him. Not very good on the North American circuit. 20th in Lake Placid, 17th in Calgary.
He was venturing into really almost unknown territory as he came over here.
He started off the season 5th, 6th, 8th. So he's drifted since then, but one thing about Russia, the Russians have always done well on this track. These are good lines.
Ooh. It's a little late.
His Albatross is a start.
Yeah, the first that wasn't in the 480s or the 470s. 494 getaway.
Well, if he can do what Rinaldi just did, he's got the speed. Oh, I mean, the track.
This is a nice looking run. This is a nice looking run.
Look at the top speed on the bottom part.
Wow.
Come on. Is that it?
50.7.
Is it getting colder? Is the track all of a sudden
it is getting colder.
Sun just went down 93.6 miles an hour.
Start of the women's race, it was 14 degrees. When we were up half an hour before the start of the men's race, it was 2.
I think it might be getting quicker.
Yep.
At the bottom, so you get somebody with a combination. Whoa! Look at those pictures. And then here.
Just gets knocked the wrong way, crossed up going into 9, but got the exit he wanted, but he had to work for it.
Martin, I think this valley, this just all of a sudden that sun went behind the clouds, and all of a sudden the track's firmed up. The last two guys down. Wow.
Francesco Friedrich leads with 10 of 31 sleds down, 3rd of 4 heats of the two-man bobsleigh world champs. Martin Haven and John Morgan trackside in Whistler. 2nd day of the two-man bobsleigh world championships, BMW IBSF Heat 3. Michael Vogt of Switzerland outside the top 10 in the first 2 heats, looking to move up.
Oh, it's over. Wow, the brakeman ran too far, maybe. I was just about ready to say that Juan was one of the guys who won the race here a couple years ago in a tie with Rico Peter.
Yeah.
This was the sled.
Yeah.
Rico Peter's sled.
The problem when we see it again at the start is Vogt wasn't in and didn't have his hand on the D-rings. The front of the sled meandered into the wall. It didn't skid in sideways.
21-year-old in his first world championship. Now he has to worry about making the cut. Can he fall? 11, 10 places, Martin.
Well,
he might
be in free fall for a few more
I
sleds.
think he is.
Because we got a really tight pack behind him.
Yeah, there's only 70/100ths or so separating 8 or 9 sleds.
It's a disastrous start for Vogt. Tucks his head, fifth fastest at the bottom, but the 11th time. Mind you, whoa, that was... Did I write Rinaldi's time down wrong?
Rinaldi had the second fastest time.
Yeah, so I did write it down wrong. So I wrote 93, not 39.
Listen, with all that problem we had, Martin, he was only 20/100 slower.
Yeah. Watch here now. You'll see the nose of the sled drift to the driver's right. Rinaldi is in too late, doesn't have his hand on the D-rings. Sled skids. He ran too long.
Yeah, he ran too long.
Rather.
Yeah, he ran too long, and I think he's going to make the cut, but he's not going to be.
Not going to be super happy about that, is he?
Yeah,
no. Only his second year driving.
Yeah, first World Championships.
But
rookie mistake.
So much more promise than that. Well, big disappointment for Michael Vogt. Leaves the door open for Markus Treichel of Austria. He was only 900ths behind.
Chance to move up here.
Yeah, real opportunity.
489, so probably 92 or 93. Look how quickly those two are in.
Yep.
989, he matched his start time. Mark, I think we got a different track coming on us now. He's got 3 starts, all exactly 489.
Now the other thing is, we've had a dozen sleds down, widening out that groove at the top as well, so that would have helped also.
Sticky.
Yeah.
Martin, interesting about him as a driver, he's another athlete that started in luge. Of course, in Austria, they're luge mad in that country.
Well, they started at his home track, Innsbruck, where his mum and dad worked. They start there at 3 and 4 years old in kids' luge, so he's been in ice probably since he was out of nappies.
Obviously, way too big to be a luge. Big boy.
Now he's already moved up ahead of Michael Vogt. Can he get close to Maxim Anjanov of Russia and 10th spot?
Watch his top speed, 8th. 11th best, that's pretty chalk. Now,
right.
Okay, so what Rudy Rinaldi did 2 sleds ago, really, was 3 sleds ago, was really amazing.
Put the cat among the pigeons. Treichel has moved up 1. So he jumps Michael Vogt.
He will be in the 4th row. So again, this is a big man. Look how quickly they're in and down, settled. Look at the arms come up. The brakeman put himself in that great aerodynamic position.
Yep.
Now here, this is pretty what everybody else has been doing. You want to get over to the right side of that curve 9.
You just can't, because then you have to steer too much in 7 out of Luder's loop. So you have to take the hit and hope it leaves you straight. Well, he moves up 1, Michael Vogt at the tail of the field as Dominik Dvorak comes to the line. And Dvorak from the Czech Republic, first man to crash in official training, but he's put that behind him. He's also shaved off the beard he's had all season.
4th in World Cup points, breakout season for this Czech pilot.
What a year he's had in 2-man and in 4-man.
I got to bring it up again. The last time the Czechoslovakia won a medal in the World Championships was 1935 in Eagles, Austria. That's a long time ago.
That is a fair while. 485, good start, but a 400 or 500 slower than their other 2.
Great season, Martin. 4th in World Cup points, as I mentioned. I asked him about what happened to his first trip here. He says, I came from Calgary where you barely steer. Here, it's 10 miles an hour faster, and you got to steer down there at 11, 12. It was driver error.
Long skid into 9, but by the time he got to corner 2, John, he was already ahead of Michael Vogt, whose sled basically stopped when he hit the wall in turn 1. So he's up to 12th on the splits. Broke down now 3 spots. And Dominik Dvorak, what's he got on the line? 11th fastest speed, 13th fastest run.
Yeah, so what Rudy Rinaldi did was oxymoron almost. How did he do that with the second fastest time of the heat?
He laid it on the line, and he was rewarded not with a tumultuous crashing wreck, but with a huge speed.
Yeah, he's gone from, boy, he lost 7,300ths on that heat to the leader.
Yeah.
Friedrich, that's
Well, the gaps are widening, but then you expect the fastest man over 2 heats to be faster over 3.
Yeah, look at these pictures.
Big skid there as well. And you didn't see that from Friedrich.
Every sled down is a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Oh, the brake way too early. Yeah, way up.
Jakob, come
on.
There's Dvorak.
I wonder if the brakes are on.
I don't think so. You'd have seen all the ice flying. Benny Meyer of Austria next up with brakeman Marcus Sammer. Meyer suffering from a hamstring injury all season long.
Just practicing for the four-man, he told me.
And he is only 200s behind Dvorak, who we've just seen after 2 heats.
49's pretty good.
So now he's 600s behind.
If he's just saying he's practicing for the four-man, that's pretty good. Martin, that's his best start of the heat, tied his best time of the 3 heats.
Well, he's waiting for the four-man when he can get 3 big horses behind him rather than just the one.
And we know how good of a driver he is. He's got World Cup medals, European Championship medals. Still a young athlete.
Yeah, he's got a World Championship bronze in the team competition from Innsbruck as well, 4 years ago now.
12. Speed in the bottom. See if he can.
This is a nice looking run. How close is he going to be? Can he overhaul Dvorak and Malay? And he ducks as well.
11th best time of the run.
Like that's because he overhauls Mikkel Vogt and Dominic Dvorak. He has moved up 2. So he will be no worse than 12th as it looks at the moment. So he's overhauled. Now, critically, John.
Is he walking okay?
Critically, his teammate Marcus Treichel is 300s in front still, the better of the Austrians.
And there's a race within a race.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, the guy who wants to emerge is Austria 1. Don't think there's any bragging rights back in each country. Jeez, the track, I'm going to say it again, Mark. The track looks very tame compared to this morning. Look how low his eyes are.
Yeah.
Look at the no split in the articulation, very quiet steering.
Lācis!
So 14 of our 31 sleds are down. Next up, USA's Cody Basque with Josh Williamson behind him. Josh, new to the squad this season at the top level.
Josh, Orlando, Florida guy. His first year in the sport. He's a lacrosse player.
Now, Cody was tied exactly with Benny Meyer, who we've just seen. They were both 200s behind Dominic Dvorak, 100 ahead of next load, Poland's Maciej Luty. 4 sleds covered by 300s.
Yeah, very good at the moment. Saw his father Craig up top of the track. He's just had a lot of bad luck, a lot of bad injuries, and it all adds up to not the season he anticipated.
Over a quarter of the races, he had to sit in the sled and be pushed by the crew because of a hamstring tear. Same as Benny Meyer, but his recovery has progressed a little quicker than Meyer's. Now across the line, where's he going to end up?
Best speed, 14th best time, 15th
so
overall.
200s behind Dominic Dvorak.
Boy, he lost some time to vote.
And he was 200s behind Dominic Dvorak in the first heat, after the first 2 heats rather. So exactly the same time that the Czech sled produced, 51.94.
Last 7-8 sleds down. I've been still perplexed at what Rudy Rinaldi did. Everybody else, look at these aren't bad lines from Cody. They're just slow. But again, he's just had a tough year of injuries, equipment has problems. Some years, they just don't go like you want them to.
Yep. 15 sleds down, Francesco Friedrich, Justin Crips, Nico Walter, the top 3. Into the second half of our field in the 2-man bobsleigh World Championships in Whistler. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching Maciej Luty and Krzysztof Tarkowski of Poland. Now these guys, 100th behind the tie for 14th. Opportunity to move up is beckoning.
400-meter national champion from Poland in the back seat there. Huge man, too. 491, that's pretty much what he's done.
16th fastest in the first heat, 15th fastest in the second, building on his experience.
coach, Jānis Binins, Latvian. Won the first ever four-man race on this track, the pre-Olympic test in 2009.
That's not a bad line, nice and quiet, avoided any taps on the wall. Now he's moving up, John. He's jumped up into 12th place already.
Flying.
He is flying. This is a great opportunity for Poland's Lācis.
Bunched up, speed.
Nice clean exit. Look at that, straight up the hill to the line. That'll gain him another spot.
Best time of the run.
Not bad.
Not bad. There's Jānis
Yeah.
Binins. Come on.
All right, so he moves up ahead of Dominic Dvorak and Cody Bascu and closes into 100th behind Mikkel Vogt, 600 behind Benny Meyer, and 800s behind Marcus Treichel. Now
100.
there is a mixing pot.
Look at that on the sled. 100 years of independence.
Same as Latvia celebrating last year, so were Poland, their centenary as a nation state.
Well, you talk about quiet steering down the track. Let's watch the runners here. He's got a little bit there, but look at the way he checks them. They come back to neutral. Boy, there's that 50-50 down there. There's only one sled we've seen in 2 days that the 50-50 has gotten a hold of.
Next up, Yoonjin Suk of Korea with Jang Ki-koo and his brakeman. A lot of noise at the top of the track from the Koreans. Well, Suk came out third from the start shed in the first heat. Former brakeman for Yoon Jong-won.
Start time, 492, both runs, so it should be that or 491 maybe. 95, so they slowed down by 3. Exit of 1. Excellent. Give an A-. There's excellent. Quiet. Drift.
Yeah.
Nice through 4-5 there. Boy, 4-5 looks tame compared to what we saw earlier today and yesterday.
They're getting it worked out, aren't they? Flopped off 5, flopped off 6, flops off 7.
Those are nice lines there. Still 17th spot. Now remember, he's sliding to get into the second run, or the final run today, the 14th.
You've got to get a good trip down, especially when you're below 15th, otherwise you're really in jeopardy. Some high lines, he's trying to let it fly for the speed. Just clips the wall once and across the line.
14th, 17th, pretty chalk. He's pretty well back of Cody Bascu, so
where's the danger behind? Ivo de Bruin next up, 500s back. Hunter Church, 1400s back.
Hey, that's a race within a race there amongst the Americans. So there's still some action yet to come.
Yeah.
Look at quiet. There, a little tap up top. That might have been a. And here, you watch the articulation, the split. That articulation, this right here, allows you to walk on the curve and get off the curve. That little split in the cowling, the suspension, the articulation. Boy, you haven't seen anybody with the max split in the sled.
They've got their heads around it. 5 or 6 training runs, 2 runs yesterday.
I think some pretty good ice work by Tracy Sykes and his crew and the
Definitely.
IBS track commission, Tony Carlino.
Next up, Ivo de Bruin, Dennis Benker for the Netherlands. Now let's see what these guys can produce. 18th place after the first 2 heats, 500s behind Suk of Korea. Trained very strongly.
491 start, pretty much like yesterday. 490, 91. 11th best velocities, not bad considering he had the 14th best start. And now Ivo, who again, as you said, he had great training, but there's no awards for winning training.
Well, he was 500s behind Suk, but he started 400s quicker than the Korean sled, so it should be close to a dead heat halfway down, but he's already overhauled the Korean.
Ooh, that's high there.
Second clock, very high.
That first pressure.
He's being brave. He's hanging it out for the speed. He's moved up 1 already.
Close to catching Bascu
How
here.
close is he going to be at the line? Bascu 1.8 behind. He's 2.0
14th
behind.
best time of the run. He's moved up at least 1, but he's still 1,600s down to Bascu.
Yeah. Well, he was a 10th quicker than Bascu, so he's taken a 3rd out of that gap to Cody. John, he was 31 hundredths quicker than Suk of Korea. Suk might not make the second heat. Look at the height there.
Well, remember, Suk went very, very early in the first run.
Yeah.
So that's the double pressure that shiver, the number 11 gives you. And then you got to come down here and talk to 12 and 13. And it looks like the athletes are getting their way into 50-50.
Yeah, that's a nice exit.
Hey, iedereen thuis, bedankt voor het kijken. Was een betere gisteren.
That's what I'd have said. Okay, 18 sleds down. Next up is Hunter Church of the USA with Chris Kinney behind him. Hunter starting his first World Championships 2 weeks after starting his first ever World Cup race.
Pretty good starts, 49, 88 for this young kid from Cadyville, New York. All three of these U.S. drivers, it might be the youngest in the field I have ever seen.
Yeah.
The average age is about 23.
Nice run out of corner 1 and out of corner 2, recovering from hip surgery in the summer.
Driving Justin Olsen's sled. Justin crashed at curve 4 or 5 right here. And Justin, hope you're feeling better. He's got a neck injury.
And the sled reminds us that in 2 years, we are back in North America for the World Championships in your hometown, John, Lake Placid.
Well, the World Championships goes from Whistler to Altenburg to Lake Placid.
Ooh, big
high
height
there.
Now he is trying to move up here. Hasn't overhauled Suk of Korea yet. How close is he going to be?
20.
Needs to put another sled behind him. He loves driving his track, he said.
18th best time, 19th. He's 13 hundredths back from the Korean.
All right, one more heat to move ahead of the Korean.
He only picked up 100th on the Korean there.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's going to be right in the bubble. Hunter,
two
first world
sleds.
champ. He had 3 heats of practice.
No, that's absolutely
On
right.
this track. Of course, he's been up here for North America's Cup, but hey,
Even so.
21 years old.
Yeah, only 3 heats in practice, and those are the only 3 heats he'd driven this sled before the race started.
Look how high he gets there. Hey, all 3 of these U.S. pilots started in the Pee Wee bobsled program in Lake Placid, New York. My brother Sean, his father Tommy had a lot to push that program forward.
What's going on,
Look at
guys?
the result. We got 3 young guys from upstate New York and Vermont driving sleds.
Having a lot of fun. 20th after the first 2 heats, the midway point of our World Championships for 2-man bobsled was rookie Ralph Berchins, another man in his 2nd year only of driving ice. First trip to North America for Berchins. Crashed on the first 2 runs in training. He and Davis Springis, his brakeman, came whooping and hollering into the finish on day 2.
They're capable of a 483 start they had in the 2nd run yesterday. He puts that down. He's only got 446.
That's good.
Watch the velocity in the left. 7th best start, but only the 16th best load. Here's another athlete that came from luge. There's about 5 of the drivers in the field that came from the sport of luge first. Late! He gets away with it, or doesn't.
Well, we're talking about that, how the Germans were hanging it late in corner 4 to make the transition into 5 better. It looks like that's working, and Berchins tried it too. Got knocked sideways into 9. Was 19th at the start, now dropping behind Hunter Church again.
Watch out here. Yeah, he's okay. This is where he crashed twice in training.
He's got that sorted out.
I think they all got it figured out now. Once they got away from the easy turns in Calgary and the 80-mile-an-hour speeds, coming out here and you're going 90.
Get the brain up to speed. Closes on Hunter Church by 1/100th of a second. The gap is down to 300ths going into the final heat.
In golf, we call it muscle memory.
Yep.
What do you call this speed memory up here, huh? How to get your mind,
Same
eyes
thing.
in your hands, a hold of this super speedway up here. 2 pressure points here down at 11. Or this is the 4-5 combination, excuse me, bump.
He hung it on late on 4. And then down into 9.
Well, then the nose points down.
He got knocked in sideways, but at least he wasn't getting knocked up.
Well, now he's officially on the bubble.
Yep.
He lost to Hunter Church by 300.
300 behind Ralph Berchins of Latvia.
In fact, he
Come
picked
the
up
rest of
100.
them.
He picked up 100th on Hunter Church in that heat.
Friedrich leads. first 20 sleds down out of 31. This is the second day of two-man bobsleigh action. 300s out of the top 20 and going through into the final run. Lamindine of Great Britain.
Oh,
with
Toby ran too far there again.
497.
21st best start. Let's see what the load is here. 17.
Skid into two, big height
there too. That's what caused the skids here.
And that might be the final nail in the coffin. Skids out of 3 into 4.
Oh, look at
bumps 4 to 5.
That's the closest person to being upside down there.
This is not what he needed. He needed a really neat run. There's Hansi Lochner's dad walking down the track, and Lamindine backs him into corner 9.
He might have gone for some different runners.
Well, not only is he not going to make the top 20, he will be overhauled by a few, I think.
Oh! Whoa!
Really, really late.
On the edge.
Really,
on the edge here.
Really late. The exact opposite of what he wanted.
52.66.
Wow, that is.
He's 6,500 slower than his second run yesterday. That was how not to do it.
Yeah, that was horrible. Well, that was exactly what he didn't need.
You know, he might have just said, hey, he might have just said, I'm going for it. And, you know, when you go for it, this went off the top of the track and 1.
Big skid into 2.
And then here 4, 5. Watch this action. Bang. Watch the airborne.
So early on to 5.
So late there. Watch how late he comes in here. Oh, how he didn't tip over there. Then watch the articulation. We talk about how quiet most of the sleds have been here. Watch the split.
Yeah.
That was maxed out.
Whew. Well, they got it down.
If you can't win, be exciting.
Yeah. All right, Jeff Gabwa now trying to catch Ralph Bercham's 1300ths of a second is not a big margin. He will be the last sled, realistically, who might make it into the top 20. Veteran brakeman Adrian Adams.
Start time 4:97.98. That's his albatross. Got a dry perfect line 4:96. The better start than they had yesterday. And he was really, really ragged up here on the top part of the track yesterday in the second run. This looks a little better.
Now this is a BTC sled, so different from what all of the other American sleds are.
This is the first World Championships, I think, since '96 that an American hasn't driven a BMW or a Bodine sled.
Well, he's already overhauled Lamindine because of Lamin's horrendous top of the track.
Not going to help.
He has not got 7 right once in 3 trips, Jeff Gabwa.
Watch out!
He's gone.
He rolled into 12.
Wow. Whoa. And he's got so much speed on board. They'll be clinging to the sled for dear life. Comes across the line. Completes the run.
54.75. Wow.
Well, there's Shauna Roebuck running down. Dr. Byrne there in the chinos and the black jacket will be with the medical crew, just making sure the athletes are okay.
Wow, I have never seen a sled roll in.
Yeah.
They usually go the other direction.
And that was brutal. And, you know, we didn't see it coming. We saw him late, thought he had it back under control, and then whipped the other way. Mike Kahn on the left. Dan Steele from the IBSF, and there is Jeff Gabwa.
Okay, this is taps here. Watch him tap, throws in the middle of the curve. Look, he's airborne there.
Yeah, nearly rolled into 12.
So late. And usually the sled taps here. Now it rolls in centrifugal force.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never seen these lines in the 10 years I've been coming up here.
Well, he nearly rolled into 12. What? Instead, he rolled into 50-50.
Pictures.
The corner that last year had the Holcomb logo in it.
Wow.
Oh, boy. Well, they'll be sore and disappointed with that. A chance to move into the top 20 and do a 4th and final heat in his first ever Worlds.
He was on the edge of getting close there.
Yeah, there's Adrian Adams on the right.
Reidsville, North Carolina.
I said he's a veteran. I said I wouldn't say antique, but he might be feeling a bit antique in the morning after that.
He'll most likely be one of the 4-man sleds. The US has 2 sleds next week. Hunter Church, Cody Basque will be the drivers.
Yep.
In fact, Cody Basque, because he missed last week, didn't qualify in points. The officials' points, Gadbois gave up his spot to Cody, saying, Cody's got a better chance than I do. So
yep.
that tells you something about the persona of Jeff Gadbois.
Yeah.
Another guy who's from the Pee Wee program told me this morning that, yeah, your brother was the coach of that, and I beat his son, which is my nephew Forrest.
Yeah.
That's when he was about 13. So he's been doing this for a while.
Yeah. You can't start young enough. I mean, the problem with bobsled is that you can't really start racing from the top of tracks till you're 16. But there is no such thing as too much ice time.
Well, I will say this. I think the track in this 5-10 minute hole is probably going to drop another degree in temperature.
There's Jeff Gadbois on the right, Adrian Adams on the left with Shauna Roebuck.
Nice to see them both walking on some unbelievable pictures of that crash.
And particularly for the driver, that he doesn't bust up his brakeman, because, you know, their lives are in your hands.
What have we seen here all day long? We have seen some unbelievable crashes. People going from curve 4 all the way down, upside down, and everybody getting up and walking away.
All week long, there have been crashes here, and they are not slow, gentle rolls.
Martin, when you go to Talladega or you go to Daytona, what do the fans want to see?
The big one.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we don't have pack racing here, but the unfortunate few sleds, they have the big one.
This is some tough track to tame, although...
Official there, checking air temperature and track temperature. These are some of the officials
look at that.
from China.
There. Yeah, the China official came down the track, and the John Rosen, who's the race director, said, no, you can't do that. Get out of there.
Yeah, we're getting ready to count down the start.
And, you know, they're just trying to learn, too.
Yeah, exactly right. They're being taught, same as the Koreans were, ready for their games. Track hold in Whistler, two-man bobsleigh world championships, third of 4 heats. Our first 22 sleds down, and USA's Jeff Gadbois has just crashed, so we have a short track hold on hand. But now getting ready to go for China. 23rd overnight, Xiao Yijun and Yu Wei, his brakeman. I'm Martin Haven, alongside me, John Morgan, trackside here in Whistler. The fastest ice on the planet.
We've lost sight of the person in the lead, Francisco Friedrich.
Well, he's probably back in the hotel by now.
Well, he's on the verge of doing another accomplishment in our sport. He's winning his 5th straight world championship. No one has ever done that since Eugenio Monti from 57 through 61. And he's got a comfortable lead at the bottom, but he's also on a track that, you know, Darlington and NASCAR, they say is too tough to tame.
Yep. This
one has reared its ugly head today a couple times.
Friedrich leads by 2700s from Justin Crips, the first heat leader. Nico Valter 4200s back. Chris Spring moved up into 4th place. Track is clear for Team China. This is Xiao Yijun with Yu Wei behind him. Martin Haven and John Morgan trackside in Whistler. 23rd place after first heat. It looks as though the gap to 20th is too great to overcome, and they've got to get the brakeman to get into the sled a little more delicately.
23rd best start, but the 12th best velocity. I think that's related to it's gotten colder up there, Martin. Harder ice, quicker ice. Okay.
Well, we've seen every day, John, through training and the racing, that as the sun drops, the temperature plummets with it.
It was so fast and so cold when they got up here for the track walks on Monday. Their cleats and their shoes weren't even cutting into the ice. The athletes are going, the ice is so, it's like cement.
Try and walk up glass.
And it is like an ice skating rink.
Now moving up ahead of Jeff Gadbois.
This is top speed, 4th best speed.
19 place. How has he done that? That's an astonishing
Look
run.
at Loaders. Hey, I'm telling you, remember I said that delay, that time delay? It's going to get a couple degrees colder.
Now he has bumped Ralph Berchins out of the top 20. Berchins
16th best
21st.
time of the run. He just went 600s faster than his second run yesterday. Martin, I'm telling you, the track temperature took, that crash helped him. Because he's in 19th, went ahead of Church. Church is now on the bubble.
Well, the next sled is a further 1400s back. I don't see that happening, but then the distance he was from the top 20.
He was 1400s behind the Latvian.
He was 1800s out of the top 20 in the first heat, and he's in 19th place. Now, Mihai Tentea of Romania, 20-year-old with Ciprian Daroci, his 20-year-old brakeman, in their second World Championships, having also competed in the Olympic Games, did his first ever World Cup race just a couple of weeks ago.
He's got to beat Hunter Church by 3200ths of a second to get in the field. 496 starting to watch the speed, yeah, so then he didn't have as good velocity as we just saw the Chinese have.
Now
I can't believe I'm talking about the Chinese.
I know. He does drive well. We saw his teammate Andrea Greco last out of the shed in the women's first heat. Roll off there, corner 6. Initiating a series of rolls off corner 6 in the women's race. Nobody else has done that.
He's picking up at least one, but that's of course the crash.
Is he going to catch Lamindine of Great Britain?
Clean. Ooh, as I said, clean. He was late on that.
Only 1100s behind the British sleds, and he's 19th fastest run. He does pick off Lamindine and Jeff Garbois.
This was the Rookie of the Year in the World Championships in 2017. This is the youngest. Of course, back then he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
Now he's grown up. He's 20.
Fully 20. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a trophy for the best rookie in the World Championships in men's bobsleigh.
Trophy's been around since 1961, was created at the World Championships in Lake Placid. And I think Dragos, Dragos, the Materials Commission guy, I think he won it for Romania like 72 or something.
All right. Good run. Well, here's Mihai. And his big brakeman, Ciprian. They are down and done. What about Timo Rona? With Adrian Fassler, Rona, 21 years old, Fassler, 26. First World Championships for Timo Rona. First time in Calgary for Timo Rona.
Father was pretty good. Won a silver medal at the Olympic Games in Nagano, a 4-man bobsled for Switzerland.
Disappointing second heat, was over half a second slower than his first, so he needs to get that sorted out in his head before 4-man week.
That was much cleaner through curve 1, 2, and 3 here. This is...
Those are the kind of lines you expect to see a Swiss sled taking. He rattled everything in heat 2.
A couple of young Swiss pilots, you know, 3 young American pilots, the young Romanian kid. This is the year after the Olympic Games. Oh, that was breathtaking.
But most of the veterans of the sport are still here as well. It's not like the head got cut off the body. Everybody's still got to beat Francesco Friedrich.
Other than curve 7, this has been a pretty good run.
Yeah. Nice looking run. He hauled it a little off corner 12, but as he rattles across the line, 23rd fastest run.
Okay.
Well, the only...
Wolfgang Stamper, the former Austrian speed merchant, Portugal Swiss.
And his first World Championship foray comes to an end after 3 heats. Anybody outside the top 20, and that's everybody from now. The next time they're in a sled will be either in the team race on Sunday, if they're in a team, or in 4-man training next week.
Well, this is Luder's Loop, okay? You go up too high, you come down, then you come up on the outlet, and you surprise yourself by falling off the corner like he did. And then down in the 50-50, which seems pretty tamed right now.
He had to work hard to get that off, though,
pretty good, though. Not too much of a split.
Yep.
Congratulations, World Championship, through and down.
Yep. And they'll be back in the 4-man race as well. Justin Crips, 2nd place. Francesco Friedrich, 1st place. Our tied Olympic champions as we get to our final half-dozen sleds. Alexander Bradikin of Russia with Roman Koshelev Well, Bradikin is first time here, and John Morgan struggling really to work this track out in training.
92, 91, 94. Watch him come out of here. Look how much of that first curve he took. Pretty good velocity considering the 19th best start and 11th velocity. But he erased all that with too much of the curve and won.
Pretty decent in Europe. We saw him for the first time in the World Cup this year, and he certainly held his head above water. But here he is floundering a little. We went down into the village at lunchtime to go and shop for groceries, and we saw the Russian girls there. They looked very relieved to have got through the race heats today without crashes.
This is pretty pedestrian.
2 moves ahead of Jeff Barbois. And in fact, he picks off Timo Rona as well. In fact, by 1/10 of a second, so he moves up 1. 52.17, that's not a bad run. That's only 400 slower than his best. That was this sort of time yesterday. He was 21st in the order yesterday, 26th today. And he's done for the two-man. Couple of days of rest.
The fastest speed on the track.
Well, Bradikin, not a bad-looking drive, but I think he was being very conservative.
Martin down in 19th place.
Little smile.
Look at this, Shaq, look at him down there, 19th place. He had the fastest speed of the track, 93 miles an hour. Friedrich had 92.9.
Top of the track, Sun Kai-shi and Ma Jianlang of China. This is the second of our two-man sleds from China. There'll be 2 in the 4-man as well. We have 2 sleds in the women's race, which is at its midway point tonight.
If he can do anything like his teammate just did, that was quite a run down the track. Let's watch the exit.
Well, he's 68 hundredths out of the top 20. I think even in one run, that's going to be tough for Francesco Friedrich to make up.
Well, unless he finds Rudy Rinaldi's line. Boy, that was, I'm still shocked at that.
Well, the big movers really have been Chris Spring, Rudy Rinaldi, and Xiao of China.
Yeah, everything else was pretty shocked.
Yeah. Most of the rest of the field has spread out. Those 3 saw some gaps and snuck in. Decent looking lines from Sun Kai-shi. 2 moves ahead of Hunter Church and ahead of
he's
Roma
20th.
and ahead of Bradikin.
20th best time of the run.
24th place. He won't get a final heat, but he moves up 3 spots. No wonder Pierre Luders is smiling. Whatever he told his guys overnight, they have both responded.
Martin, we're talking about China. You never imagined 6-7 years ago that we would have athletes competing in 2-man, 4-man, women's bob, men's, women's skeleton. They're in all the disciplines, and of course they will host the 2022 Winter Olympic Games. And from what we're hearing about that track, Martin, they've got a Kreisel in the track for the first time since the Calgary Olympics in '88. And they say it's a big, long Kreisel, which we used to think were pretty boring. But
well, there you go. Sun Kai-shi looking very happy with that run. Move up 3 or 4 spots. Andre Lange going, there you go, I told you. I think the message got through. Final 3 sleds of the competition, final 4 sleds of the competition in Heat 3. Patrick Baumgartner and Alex Bergina now for Italy.
I spoke to Simone Bertazzo about his brakeman here, that we're seeing too much of his brakeman in the back. We shouldn't see him at all. He said, oh, he's got a new sled. We have, well, it's the World Championships.
Yeah. Well, it is a rented sled. He's not driven this before, Baumgartner. And you can see that the big guy in the back, he was struggling to get in at all. Never mind get out of sight.
Baumgartner won the 2012 Youth Olympics.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's been in 3 World Championships, a couple of Olympics already, and should be back in this position. I think half of it on this super speedway where aerodynamics play such a crucial role in your bottom time. Well, best speed at the bottom. 26th best time. Not going to move up. Big gavel, of course.
Yep. But didn't catch Timo Rona.
Just going through the motions, it seems like, because...
Well, third and final heat. First time here for him. And his second two-man World Championships concludes at the end of Heat 3.
Transition. This is 4 to 5.
Oh. Big old hit. Now, look at the brakeman. He's not exactly tiny, and when they get bumped out of the seat like that, there's 100 kilos being fired up in the air. That's energy that's no longer going forward in the sled. There's Batazzo helping with the sled at the bottom. A bit more polishing of this diamond in the rough. And we get into our final three sleds. Next up is Croatia's Drazen Zilic with Alexander Krajisnik, his brakeman. And Alex with a massive gouge down his leg where he nearly cut himself to ribbons with a circular saw last year. Still recovering from that. In a sled that they have rented from local Aussie Heath Spence. And this will be the final run of their two-man worlds as well. 29th place overnight. So 5:17 getaway.
Skid, big time.
Again, had never driven the sled before this weekend, so 5-6 trips in training, and then 2 yesterday to get used to this brand new rental. Whoa!
Dragon was on a lot of different parts of the track yesterday, like right there.
Yeah.
Watch out. Just get to the bottom, Dragon.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that is very much his intention. Gleeson Silic way up in the woodwork. Now he's gonna, got it off 12, okay.
Well, you know, you can't win. He's spectacular. And
you can't be not spectacular on this track.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
Those lines just up at 11. Who was the Czech pilot in the four-man I keep talking
Jan
about?
Verber. Jan Verber, yeah.
The lines that he had, this might be right there with it in 11.
Wow.
10.
Sorry about that. Or we made it. I'm not quite sure what that was. One or the other.
He'll give us a quote. We'll see the replay.
Yeah.
Ilko will hold them there.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. Watch these.
Well, that's
Okay.
4 to 5.
There's a little airborne. That's not too bad. And here. Okay, well,
That's out of 5
marginal,
into
but right
6.
now.
Look how late he is on 6.
Ooh.
And then into Luda's loop. Straight
Up
up
to
to
the
the
lip.
woodwork.
Right here, look at those pictures.
Oh.
Whoa.
And look at the violence on the driver and his brakeman.
We survived.
Yeah, you survived the trip. You might
Going home in one piece.
There you go.
beaten up tonight.
Be a lot easier on the plane ride.
I think we'll see them in the village this evening. Now, next up is one of the stories of these World Championships. For the first time ever, a pilot who has qualified from Parabob, Dave Nichols of Israel, with Ilya Malakin behind him. Third and final run in the World Championships for this pair as well.
Park City Dave, he started sliding way back in 2005-06.
Back set.
Park City. And saw a loophole in the rules that he could qualify with the 5-3-2 rule and qualify from the African nation. Every Africans get to qualify at least one team. Here he is. Had a horrific crash Sunday in the paid training. That's why the sled was all torn apart.
Well, he got down all the official training trips. This is his third and final run. He won't make it up into the top 20 now and go through into the fourth heat. Raced in the Parabob this season, also raced in irregular two-man races in North America's Cup.
Plays hockey, para-hockey team for the Golden Knights para team down there in Las Vegas. He's a goalie.
Really likes being cold and skidding around a lot.
Well, he likes driving bobsleds.
Yeah.
Again, I saw him driving way back in 2005-06. Jeff Bodine adapted a sled for him, put a NASCAR seat in it. Here he is 12 years later, still doing what he likes to do best.
55-2-0 across the line. Dave Nichols and Ilya Malikin. They complete the two-man World Championships. Another note in the history books.
Wow, we did it, buddy! Come on.
Threw it down.
Yeah.
The World Championships. Okay, lines down the track. Well, he knows how to get down, that's for sure. Look at those lines. Skid going on to the 9 curve, and then here in the 50-50. No problem.
He believed, didn't panic. Let it go. And he will not finish last in the field because they did not crash. Our final sled, seeking some redemption from this mountain, is Nick Polignarto. Lamindin's been disqualified. We'll catch up with that later. Keeper Joyce, the 24-year-old, replacement on the back of the sled for Ben Copewell.
Now you're saying yourself, why is Polignarto even going 16 seconds back? He's not going to get the 4th run. Well, he's going to be in the 4-man race, and he wanted to make sure to go back out, take a successful trip down the track, and go to 4-man training in Tuesday.
Absolutely right. You do not walk away knowing that the mountain owes you something.
Get back on the horse. It throws you off.
Well, this is a great-looking run, as you would expect from Nick Polignarto. Neat, tidy, knows the track well.
Talked to his brakeman, Ben Copewell, who, wow, told us about what it was like riding in that sled upside down for a minute.
He didn't mention fun at any stage, did he? No, not at all.
He's ready to go. He's just going to take a couple days off, but he'll be in the 4-man.
51.98, 19th fastest time.
Way to go, Nick.
There you go. Get back on the horse that threw you.
Football player mentality. He's always going for it.
Keeper Joyce is sub brakeman. He'll be in the 4-man, 2nd season. His first ever race was here in Whistler.
19th best time. Of course, he's coming down over the track that is really cut up. 12th best start. Hey, he did everything he needed to do to prepare himself for the 4-man competition. And don't count this guy out. This guy has been in the top 10 most of his career coming out of the Canadian number 3 slot.
Exactly right. Get it down, get it done.
Well, not what I wanted, but way to bounce back, I guess.
Turn the page. And we are 1 trip away from deciding the 2019 BMW IBSF World Champion. Can Francesco Friedrich cling on? And can he complete the sweep of medals? He's the world champion. He's not the world champion. He's the Olympic champion, the World Cup champion, and the European champion.
Now he's looking to do what the greatest guy ever in our sport, the Pele of bobsledding, Eugenio Monti. If Friedrich comes down, he'll win 5 straight world championships like Monty did from 57 through 61. History in front of us, Martin.
75 minutes from now, we will know who our world champion is. And with the gap between Friedrich and Crips, Crips is going to have to do something otherworldly here on Whistler Mountain to try and bring back the gold. He led after the first heat. He's behind after 3. And the field cut behind Hunter Church in his first ever World Championships race. Hunter Church makes the field. Lamindin, Toby Alubi, may have been weight, may have been runners, don't know, but whatever, they were never making the second heat anyway. So we will go 20-1 in the final heat. It starts in just over a quarter of an hour at 6:30 local. Join us for all the action as we decide our 2019 two-man bobsleigh world champion.